My name is Dr. Deborah Renette Delco, and I am one of the project managers of Cleveland Thrive, which is the city initiative for violence reduction. And I'm welcoming you guys. Thanks for coming on this Friday. Beautiful sunny Friday. You guys could be someplace else, but you came to support us, so I really thank you guys for that. I want to welcome everybody from coming. I see the city in the house and our community representatives, ICON, Renounce, Denounce, and MyCom, and we got the safety unit here, and we've got Together We Rise, and if I'm missing everybody, just charge it to my head and not my heart. We got Project Lift in the house is going to be presenting. She's on the agenda. Again, thank you for coming. Y'all know I love y'all, and we got to get this work done together. Okay? Thank you.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? I feel like the energy a little low on this Friday. I understand, man. Probably had some long weeks. I had a long week too. You know, so Friday is a day where you kind of get to chill. I'm glad y'all here chilling with us. So I appreciate y'all being here. As Deb mentioned, we're gonna do a lot of different things today, right? So I'm gonna just have us go and run through our agenda really quickly. There we go. So we just had our welcome, right? We're going to talk about the Cleveland Thrive progress. We did have to move some things, so we're going to have Gradient go before Project Lift on that partner spotlight. And then we're also going to have a data presentation from Michael Hurd from Public Safety. And this is really, really good for you all because it shows you how you can use the portal, something that's accessible to everyone, to get data about what's going on violence-wise within the city. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, and make sure everybody signs in, please. Please, everybody sign in. Then after that, we're gonna have our partner acknowledgements and announcements, and then Chief Parr Jones is gonna be able to close this out. Y'all can go ahead. You go to the next one. Go ahead, keep going. Keep going. Cool. So, I just wanna give you a snapshot of where we are, right, and what we're doing within Cleveland Thrive. For our January meeting, we talked about what are we trying to do this year, right? What are some of the goals and things that we're trying to accomplish this year, right? So I want to be able to give you some updates and some progress of where we are to now and where we're looking to go in the future as far as the summer and things goes. To put this slide up first because it gives us an idea of what we're doing and where we're at. Talks about our neighborhoods that we're in, our intended populations, right? And also talks about us having these bi-monthly meetings that we have every other month, right? Where we get to come together, talk, learn, do some training, some facilitation amongst each other, and then we also get a chance to collaborate. This is all about collaboration. This is all about community voice, right? Those who are in the community, those who are doing the work, which are you all, they coming to the table and having an opportunity to say, this is what needs to happen with things. It went out on me a little bit, okay. This is what needs to happen as far as what's going on in the city of Cleveland according to violence. Next slide. So when we talk about our progress, right, we hired a consultant, company Gradient, to be able to do our violence prevention blueprint. And they're going to have their time to talk here pretty soon. But they've been doing an amazing job doing focus groups in different communities. As of right now, to date, it might be actually be a little bit more, so I'll have you all be able to explain that. But they've done over 14 focus groups and engaged over 280 residents. I think that's an amazing feat. We did ask them to do this rather quickly, right? And they've been doing an amazing job getting the peer consultants who go out and have these community conversations. Really important to get that community voice. Also doing some sessions with youth, doing some sessions with the elderly, doing some sessions with some special populations as well. And it's been really, really great for us to be able to get that community voice. We really want to have a community assessment to understand what modality, when we say modality, what intervention do we need to use to be able to combat this violence that's happening within Cleveland, right? We can say that violence are happening in all these areas, which we know, but we have to be able to be specific about where it's happening, what street, what time, right? Because that tells us what we need to do. And that this assessment that Gradient is producing for us is gonna allow us to do that. Also in March, we released an RFQ And our RFQ was tailored towards organizations to house the money that we have for Cleveland Thrive. We heard you all when you said the reimbursement process is a barrier for you all to get funds, right, to apply for different funding opportunities. And we also heard you for the different red tapes and things that has to happen within the city and their processes makes it harder for you all to serve and to get funding to serve. So in hearing you all say that, we want another organization who has a little bit more flexibility than we do to be able to have our funds and house our funds so that they can be able to distribute those funds to you all, right? Make it a little bit easier for you to be able to get some resources. We know resources are scarce, right? We understand that. We know investment needs to happen in this as soon as it possibly can, but we also want to use Cleveland Thrive is a leveraging point to where we can continue to do the work that needs to be done, talk about what we did, talk about how it was impactful, and then leverage for more funding opportunities. So that came out in March, and it will on March 3rd, and it will close on March 24th. So by the end of the month, we should know what organization we're going to have do so, and they're going to be able to facilitate under whatever process they facilitate to be able to get the money on the street. For April and August, we want to deploy over $1 million organizations on the street. We're really focusing on, you'll see in my next slide when we talk about this, but we're focusing on street intervention. That's the biggest thing that we're talking about and got suggestions from national partners to do so. I don't know if you all remember in September, we had the training that Live Free curated for us. They also gave us a list of recommendations, and in those recommendations it said, hey, this is where y'all need to start to build a relationship with those who are in the 1% who are most likely to commit gun violence. So therefore, you can be able to give resources to them, and then you can build your rest of your ecosystem infrastructure out from that. So we're really focusing on getting that money strategically to those organizations who do that within the city. We really want to be able to support you all. We want to have some workshops that are coming up. Deb started a cohorts where she went to different neighborhoods and had some cohort groups that went on, which were very impactful. We want to continue that work, but we also want to give you some different resources for training. Right now, we're thinking, because there is money coming out on the street and there will be an RFP process, it's really helping you all understand what the RFP process looks like and how to present the best proposal, right? So we want to have a couple workshops and things to where we can be able to. If you all have any other needs, please give us ideas of what you all want, some resources that you all need, so that we can be able to give those to you. We really want to be walking as the support, hand in hand with you all as you're trying to navigate the space of serving those who within the city of Cleveland. We want to be an ally, a partner with you. And the only way we can do that is if we can consistently get feedback from you on what needs to happen. Next slide, please. So we look forward towards the summer. As I said, we want to focus on street intervention efforts and really encourage the relationship building and resource allocation to that top 1% of people who we know commit gun violence or are most susceptible to commit gun violence. We want to have some synergy in programming. Understand that there's so much programming going on just in this room that's going to happen. Right now, we're trying to facilitate a Google form, some type of form that we can be able to receive information on things that you all have going on throughout the summer. We want to figure out ways that we can support you, and it's also good for this network to be able to support one another. A lot of times we just don't know, right? So we're trying to be able to get the information from you all. What things do you have coming up for the summer, month by month, so that we can be able to blast that out and say, hey, these are the events going on for June. These are ways that you can support. This is what this organization is saying that they need, right? So that we know the call to action so that we can be able to respond. And I think that's really important for us when we talk about collaboration and coming together. That's a really important thing for us, but we have to know, have to be in the know. So look out for that. That's going to be coming here soon. Collaboration with data reporting from Cleveland Thrive Partners. I also want to develop something to where we can be able to, and I know people are sensitive about data, but data tells a story, right? And people in this network, all the great work that you are doing and the impact you're making, even if you're not funded from the money that we're able to give out, we still want to hear about your impact. So we want to be able to create some platform to where you can upload some data about things that you've done, some touch points that you have with individuals, et cetera, so that we can really story this. Because like I said, the idea is for Cleveland Thrive to be a leveraging point in the future. The only way it can be a leveraging point in the future is if we have data that we can be able to say, look at what our network did over this summer. they touched this many people, they gave this many resources out. And doing that can be able to say they need more funds to do it on a bigger scale. And then look at the impact from the numbers decreasing in this area as far as violence goes, right? So we want to be able to connect those dots. So that's also something that we're looking to do that's going to be coming down the pipe soon. And we want to focus on both of these mics are kind of going in and out, but in a minute I'm gonna just have to use my coach voice. We'll just keep rocking with this one for now. But really focus on quantitative data. You all have a lot of qualitative data, a lot of stories. You can go to anybody, a lot of people in the city of Cleveland and say, hey, how did my organization impact you? And they can go tell the story, right? But we really want to talk about quantitative data with numbers, something that someone could look at very quickly. Because when you pair the both together, it's really, really powerful. But a lot of times, people who make these decisions, make these funded decisions, don't have time to look at a 5-minute video, right, to hear your stories. But they do have time to look at this spreadsheet or this one-pager that you created and skim through to see what you did. So we really want to emphasize that to be able to be strategic about how we can be able to help you all get more funds to be able to do your work the way that you all do it. So I know I said a whole lot and I said it very, very fast. If you have any questions, man, please come engage with us and contact us. We will be reaching out to you all. We're looking into some different data places and some different data portals right now. So we're gonna need your help, right? This summer is huge. We know summer is big and summer is practically here, right? But we wanna be able to have this sprint into summer. And we wanna do it all collectively so that we can all be able to show the impact that I know you all are making within the city, all right? We go to the next slide. So for right now, we're gonna have Gradient come up, and they're gonna talk about their progress that they've been making, developing this violence prevention blueprint. So we have Jerry coming up, and we have Victor coming up. Please give them a round of applause for the great work they've been doing.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Rich. Thank you for your leadership and support. And Dr. Delco, thank you for your leadership and support. We are here today to give you some updates on our progress. I also want to recognize our other team member, Dr. Stephen Lake, who's been helping with some with our data surveying work. And then very quickly, I also asked the rest of the team to raise their hand as well. So what we're going to do today is update you on, last time we were here, we had you all provide us some information, answer some questions around what were you interested in learning as we survey the community and focus groups. And also we had you take a survey that many of you completed. And we took that information and that helped guide us as we created the questions for our focus groups and surveys. So we're going to update you on that. We're going to give you an update on the focus groups. I have even better news than the number Rich shared. The work that our team has done has been tremendous. And then we're going to give some early recommendations that we're and themes that we're seeing. So next slide, please. Okay, you can go ahead. Okay, so we know that the blueprint is a living document that's going to provide a process for us to coordinate and effectively address violent crime in Cleveland. You can go ahead to the next one. It'll include, I'm going to move on this side, excuse me. It's going to help us understand the types of crimes that are occurring, what the community needs and wants to see, the challenges that victims are facing, and then a plan to reduce violent crime. Next slide, please. So the blueprint will support a transparent, public-facing violent crime prevention structure, and it will inform policy and decision-making. That's the blueprint that's going to come out of all this work in several months. Today, we're submitting to Chief Pryor Jones and her team a Phase 1 report, which I'll talk about very high level, but because it hasn't been reviewed yet, we're not going to be able to share anything but you'll be seeing that very soon. Next slide, please. Okay, so as I said, this is what we're going to go over today. Your input and your survey, overview of the community engagement effort thus far, what we've heard from the community, and then the community survey that we need your help in disseminating throughout your networks. Got it. Okay. Before I go any further, I'd love to ask the peer consultants of our Thrive team to please stand up. I'll call you out if you don't stand up because I see you. Get up, Laron. This team right here and several others have done a tremendous job with outreach, and when I share with you the numbers of individuals they've engaged in under 2 months, it's quite a undertaking and a tremendous achievement. Okay, next slide, please. You can go ahead. Okay, so last time we were here, we asked you, what were you curious about? What did you, if you were talking to the community, what would you want to know? And from your collective input, we created 61 questions. You can go ahead. And the themes of those questions were around just from understanding violent crime. You have emotional regulation and conflict response. Do I need to be closer? Is that go on this side? All right. I have to work on my microphone management skills. All right. The root causes and motivations behind violence, safety, protection, and community trust, trauma, healing, and recovery, support systems and relationships, access to resources and services, identity, purpose, and belonging, accountability and responsibility, and then participation and voice, and then systems level collaboration and solutions. So when we look at your 61 questions, these were the 10 categories that they fell under. Next slide. Okay, and then your survey, 18 of you completed the survey. You can go ahead. And when it came to the roles, a majority of you were in the direct service provider role, but we had individuals in public safety, and then you had several others. So a majority of you who completed the survey were direct service providers. And then when we look at the level of experience, a majority of you had 4 or more years in work. So you've really built a level of experience and expertise. Next, please. Okay, so when we look at your responses and the input that you gave, and we look at what you felt were the primary causes of violent crime, I'll just read the categories. We could share this presentation with you. These were the ones that really stood out. One was systemic and institutional factors. And by the way, when I repeat this information back to you, you're probably not going to be surprised. We all know a lot of the causes. I think what we need to work on is how do we execute these solutions in a way that is aligned. Back up. Systemic and institutional factors such as policing, the way policing is done, mass incarceration, historical trauma, those are things. Economic inequality, unemployment, underemployment, poverty, education and youth development, lack of activities, after school experiences for our youth. Next slide, please. Mental health and emotional well-being, trauma, and the cyclical nature of unaddressed trauma leading to violence and nonstop. You don't address the trauma, that leads to anger, wanting to, responding with violence, and really needing to address trauma. The family and community structure, in many cases the lack of that, and then accessibility and exposure to firearms and drugs. I will say that the accessibility to firearms from your perspective ranked lower, on the lower end, which was interesting when you compare it to what we're hearing from the community, that the community, especially youth, are saying that getting a gun is really, really easy, and it is a cause for a lot of violence. So, any questions on the primary causes of violent crime? Any surprises? Anything you feel is missing? Okay. All right, next slide, please. And this is just that same data, but represented more in how you tallied it. So as you can see, poverty and income inequality was really ranked at the top. And then if you go down, while these are all still very relevant, seeing less relevance when it relates to things such as gangs and availability of firearms. Still relevant, but now you're starting to see some disagreement there amongst the survey respondents. All right, next slide, please. And then when we look at what is the most prevalent types of violent crime, again from your perspective, that community violence, the violence happening in the community, the youth, violence committed by youth, and then we heard things like online cyberbullying, harassment of any type. So these were the various types. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so now, again, from your perspective, and I want to reiterate that because one of the things we want to do is how does your perspective compare to what the community is saying? I think immediate strategy is the need for a coordinated and collaborative approach that is inclusive and well-resourced, transparent, and accountable. So one of our early recommendations is really starting at the City Hall level is a dedicated office with dedicated staffing to be able to coordinate this entire effort. And it must bridge systems and neighborhoods. Something to really bring out here, and we've shared this with the team, there is a distrust, not just at the community level, but at all levels. There's a distrust of institutions and of large institutions and public institutions. So being able to be that bridge between the institutions and the neighborhoods is critical. And while data of all kinds is critical, we also need to acknowledge and value lived experience. And that's where that voice of the community is so important. And in policy and practice. Other prevention include behavioral health as a core prevention tool. Trauma-informed approaches, again, trauma is just something that comes up, and unaddressed trauma over and over. It's really important that it's community-led. The community has said, we want to be involved in solving our own problems. And so ensuring that there's community input and engagement is critical. And then other safe spaces, policy reform. Messaging you all came up a lot is the way we talk about our youth, the way we talk about our communities is critical. We start shifting that narrative to a more positive. And then obviously ensure that once we know something works, make sure that we're properly resourcing that. Okay, any questions here? Anything surprising, missing? Okay. Next slide, please. And then again, just prioritization of strategies, big demand from policy, from direct service to the community. There is a desperate need for more community programs. Education and awareness campaigns, and then strengthening our social service. I think the important piece here is being conscious again of what we are discovering is that there's an inherent distrust in large institutions, so that when we look at our services, it's also what are those small neighborhood-based programs that are doing great work and doing the outreach and being effective, is ensure that those are also considered part of the prevention strategies. Policy, economic empowerment programs, conflict resolution, and then law enforcement initiatives. Policing and law enforcement across the board are being ranked as not as desired, meaning that that's more of like a last resort. So, next. Okay, I'm gonna ask my colleague Jerry, I don't know where he went, oh, he's right there, to talk about the community engagement strategy. But if you could go before, next slide, please. So I want to, to date, we've had 21 focus groups and almost 400 community members engaged in these focus groups. And that we're still working hard. We have many more planned. So again, our team, who are known in their communities, are able to fill rooms, have that reputation and trust, have been doing a tremendous job facilitating these. So I'll have Jerry talk more about the process.
Good afternoon, everyone. So really quickly, just super high overall view of the community engagement work that's been happening. Again, as Victor said, we've done 21 community focus groups. The peer consultants have really leveraged, it's the peer consultants who are doing this work on the ground. It's folks who have these community ties and these relationships. So they've really leveraged those relationships to bring people into these spaces and have these conversations. We're focusing in these 9 neighborhoods here, so Fairfax, Central, St. Clair Superior, Broadway, Slavic Village, Kinsman, Mount Pleasant, Union Miles, Buckeye, and Buckeye Shaker. And we've been having these focus groups in places like rec centers, churches, trusted community spaces. And we've been keeping them really to about 15 to 20 people per focus group, so we can have a really engaged conversation. When we think about the folks that we've talked to, it's young adults, young youth, anywhere from 11 to 17 years old. We've talked to the elderly. We had these conversations in churches. And, it's been a mixed sort of bag in regards to how people are feeling, what they're thinking, and what they really want to see come out of this process. We still have a bunch more of these conversations to go, but again, we're really focusing on these communities, making sure that we are talking to folks who are directly impacted by violence in these communities, and the peer consultants have done a really great job at really addressing where these spaces and these conversations need to take place.
Thank you. If you could go to the next slide, please. So in addition to the community members Jerry talked about, there's been a focus group with victims and survivors of violent crime, high influencers. These are individuals in the community who are involved in gangs or are involved in a variety of things, but can be really influential. And these are highly confidential, small group or one-on-one conversations. And we've also had conversations with returning citizens. I'm wondering if anyone on the team would care to share an experience, or not to put anyone on the spot. If you don't want to, that's okay. No? Okay. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, here's what we've been hearing. Okay, so I shared with you that we're unable to really share the assessment. We have a phase 1 report coming out soon, but I will say that what we're hearing from the community and is very much in line with what you all said, that the lack of economic opportunities, the lack of after-school opportunities, the availability of guns, trauma is big. A lot of our children are really suffering and hurting, and the only way that they know how to react to a lot of these things is through violence. These are all the same things we're hearing from the community. So when I say to all of you that it's good that we're aligned, I'm not saying that the problem is good. What I'm saying is that we have a clear understanding of what the issue is. The work and what we're trying to work towards with the blueprint is how do we go at it, address the issues together as a united front with utilizing methods that work so that we could finally address this situation. We have, if you could go to the next slide, please. We need your help. We now want to have a broad community survey that get as many community members. All of you have access to various community groups. We need your help in spreading the word. So we have a flyer here with a QR code. We'd love for each of the groups here to take one and then do us a favor, make more copies. We don't have enough copies for everyone here. But if you could help disseminate this survey, it's about 15 questions. It goes by very quickly, and ask a variety of questions. I'm going to ask Dr. Lake to go briefly through the survey. And is this connected to the internet? Rich, do you know if this is connected to is it connected to the internet? If you could click on the QR code. Okay.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Again, Stephen Lake, and so I just wanted to just address what Victor was kind of talking about, right? So we've done these focus groups, and that was an opportunity for us to take a really deep dive into some really great conversations to really find out a lot about what some community members are discussing. So what the survey is going to allow us to do, and with all of your help, is to really get a really large understanding from the community. So we really need the help to kind of get this survey out. The one important thing about this entire process is that this is a very community-centric effort, right? So the deeper we can get into community and to get their perspectives, the greater the blueprint will be, right? So this is really driven by community input, right? And so the QR code, it is live, right? So as you are able to see it, this is exactly the survey. So we really want to get this out. So I can kind of run through it very quickly. We worked with a lot of stakeholders, a lot of community members. Our peer consultant team has been amazing to kind of help us really drill down on the key questions that are going to help us get key insight to kind of drive success in this process, right? So we start the survey off. As you will see, we have a nice introductory paragraph that just kind of welcomes folks to the survey, tell them what it's about. We do tell individuals that the survey should take somewhere between 5 to 7 minutes. We felt that that was an appropriate amount of time to get folks to actually complete the survey, but also enough time to get some detailed responses from folks. So we have a mixture of questions, like as you can kind of see, just how old you are. We really want to know what type of demographic that we're looking at. We're asking folks just really quickly at the start. So we got the age, we got gender, we have race. But we also want to know where folks are coming from, right? So as we know in this work, we have some target neighborhoods where we know violence is a little bit more prevalent than others, right? So we want to know where folks that are responding to the survey, where are they coming from? And if they're not in one of these neighborhoods, we also have a question or an answer that allows them to kind of say other, and they can kind of put that there. As we get a little bit deeper into some of the nuance of the questions, right? So the first question we have after the demographics is, how serious of a problem do you believe violent crime is in Cleveland, right? So we're going to kind of get those perspectives. We had a lot of rich data come out of the focus groups. So it's going to be really interesting to see what a much broader cross-section of our community has to say. And then from there, as we look at how serious of a problem it is, we're then asking folks, how concerned are you about it, right? Is it of concern to you? So which is going to allow us to kind of know, what role folks may want to play in this process. Then we go on and then ask folks, what types of violence are most common in your neighborhood? We have a lot of hard data, as Victor and Rich have been talking about. We have all of that data, but we also want to understand the perceptions of our community, right? What do folks in the community actually feel is going on? And so we really want to understand what they're seeing as the types of violence that is occurring in their community, okay? And again, each of these questions will also have like an other option. So if you don't see something on the list, we put a list together just to kind of get folks thinking about, different answers that they might want to provide. But we always have an other option. And then we have a very specific question, right? Is there anything else you want city leaders to know about violence in your community? We had a lot of unique things come back in the focus groups, but that was an opportunity for us to sit down with a small group and ask probing questions. So in the survey format, this is allowing us to kind of say, hey, is there anything else? If you could tell city leaders anything, this is your opportunity to do that, right? And then we're going to collect all this data and then report it back to city leaders, right? The personal experience with violence is also very important, right? So have you or someone you know been affected by violent crime? So you can say, yes, I have been. Yes, someone I know has been, or no, I have not, right? So we want to kind of get a sense of how prevalent it is for the folks that are actually completing the survey as well, too. Following that, we're going to ask folks, how does violence impact your daily life? Right? We talk a lot. One of the things that came up so much in the focus groups is trauma. And so we want to really begin to unpack, how is violence impacting folks' daily life? So this is actually an opportunity to be open-ended, and folks can kind of really just describe it how they feel. And then we're going to collect all that data and look for themes within folks' responses. All right. We move on to what do you think are the primary causes of violent crime? Right? So this is an opportunity for us to not just look at high level kind of reasons, but really begin to get to root causes. One of the things that we know that there's a lot of things in place that are kind of addressing violence as it happens, but we really want to kind of get to root causes. So if we can begin to address the root causes, we know that we can really get to the goal of the blueprint, and that is violence reduction and hopefully one day elimination, right? And so this is going to help us better understand what the community feels are the root causes for violence in community. And as you can see, we have a host of responses here. This is a very important question, the next one that's coming up, right? So we're asking folks, how safe do you feel on a scale of 1 to 5 in these different scenarios? So during the day, at night, in public places, in school or work, or at home, right? And so you can kind of go anywhere from very safe to not safe at all. And this is an opportunity for us to kind of see varying aspects of community. Because one of the other things to remember that we're asking is, where are folks coming from? Where are they represented in community? So we might get different responses based on where folks are coming from within the community, okay? As we look from there, what challenges make it difficult to stop violent crime in your community? So we know that there's a lot of efforts, there's a lot of initiatives. All of us in this room have some form of practice in this work, but we want the community's answer is what is making it difficult to stop it? Why are we having this challenge, right? And so taking the community's perspective is going to help us drive towards greater solutions. And from there, we're going to say, what can be done to make our community safer, right? Again, this is a community-driven effort, right? So we really want our community members to tell us, what do they feel like can be done to help drive change? And the last question is, and so in the context of one of the things that we know is very important, and we talked about it in these meetings before, is anonymity and making sure folks know that their responses are not tied back to them. But we do know that some people want to stay connected, right? So we added this question with a lot of the input from other people to say, hey, if you want to stay connected with our work and receive updates on the blueprint, you can put a email here and we will keep you updated, right? But of course, as you know, as you're maybe getting it out to different folks, their answers won't be tied to their email, but we will know that they have replied because they would put their email in here. But a lot of people do have told us that they want to stay connected to the work, right? And so it's really important for us to have an option to be able to tell them that. So again, that's the survey that we created. It should take between 5 to 7 minutes to complete. If some folks are a little bit more long-winded with some of their responses, it may take a little bit longer, but as you're getting it out, know that that's kind of the general summary. We did review the survey. The survey is targeted at a 7th grade reading level. So one of the things that was really important for us is that it's very inclusive and accessible to most people, right? And so whether youth or adults, we felt that the 7th grade reading level was a great target for us to kind of really ask them probing questions and get a lot of inclusive responses. So I don't know if there's any questions anybody might have about the survey, but again, this was quite a long process for us to kind of get the survey to this point, because we were really detailed about the questions we were asking to make sure that it was giving us the answers to help drive content in the blueprint, right? So, but I guess we can take questions if anybody has any questions about this. But again, to reiterate the point is that our blueprint is only going to be as successful as the number of hands we can kind of get the survey into. Victor shared all the great responses that we got from the focus group, but the survey is going to give us a chance to maybe hit thousands of people and get thousands of responses, right? So to really have a nice data set to, really say, what we need to do in community.
All right, thank you. I was given the hook sign from our team over there. We are going to pass this flyer. I have about 40 copies, so if you're representing an organization, please take one. And then we'll email it out as well. But thank you, everyone. We appreciate the work you do and your support.
All right, thank you, Victor, Grady, and team. We really appreciate it. They're doing great work, like we said. So please tap in with them. Make sure you engage in those, and also get those surveys out to as many people as you can. That'll be really, really, really helpful to the project and really helpful to the progress that we're trying to make. So now I'm going to welcome up LaToya Logan from Project Lift to have her talk about her organization. We are planning to do these partner spotlights throughout the remainder of our Cleveland Thrive meetings. We really just want to give you all the opportunity to talk about what you do and talk about why you do it and how people can get involved. We think that's really, really important. As these things go on, we want it to be less of us talking and more of you all. So this is one of the ways that we're trying to do that. So if you're interested in being a partner spotlight in our following meetings, please contact us, reach out to us so we can get you on the schedule. And I see we getting all the slides and stuff together. So we rolling. There it is. All good. Hand it over to you, LaToya.
Good afternoon. All right, so I'm a therapist, and I think there needs to be an energy shift, so I need you all to stand up. I know you heard what I said. For those of you who have been in my training, this is what we do. I kind of tell, I don't ask. Get up. So I'm a restorative justice practitioner, I'm a licensed independent social worker, and I'm a trauma therapist. And we always start our meetings in circle, because in circle we create the energy shift that we want, that leads us, gives us intention, helps us to move forward. So what I want you to do is I'm going to take a note from my staff member, Lakeisha Smith, and we're going to use spirit hands. And so what I want you to do is to take your hands, I'm going to set this down for a second, and shake your hands out, okay? And we have to move the energy, because I think we've been sitting, and some of you, I know it's Friday, but it's sunny outside, and you need to be excited for that. And so we start our circle with intention. What is the intention we have in the world? What is the intention we have for our life? What is the intention we have for our impact? And so we shake that out because we want to make sure that in every cell of our body, our intention is felt. So for you today, our intention is communal impact. And so we want to feel that, I said shake. We want to feel that intention everywhere. So as you shake, I want you to raise if you can. And I want you to do a bend over if you can, because we're going to shake it all. Look now. I know you can follow directions. Shake it out, okay? Give yourself a up. It's Friday. We here. Let's go. You ready? All right, have a seat. So my name is LaToya Logan. I'm the CEO and founder of Project Lift Services. I founded Project Lift in 2016. I have worked in every level of criminal justice field, from juvenile to adult, prisons, diversion, re-entry, probation, housing, every aspect of that work. It's important to me. And what I know is nobody does it alone. We do it together. And so presenting today, while I will talk about Project Lift, what I'm really talking about is us. The power of communal healing, how we create access, how we redirect narratives, how we help individuals to reclaim their lives. And Kara's going to assist me with moving our slides apart, because this Women's History Month and we prop up the women who do the work, correct? All right, if you don't mind. Project Lift. Lift is an acronym for our guiding values: learn, ingenuity, fortitude, and triumph. We believe that oftentimes poor decision making comes from an absence of exposure to the possibility. So at Project Lift, what we start with is helping individuals see the possibility of aspiring. We give them information, we teach them tools and tips, we connect them to resources, and we do that in an innovative way. We understand that most treatment modalities, most strategies are coming from a Eurocentric framework that does not work with our population because it does not center culture. It does not center in their identities, and it does not center their definition of hope and healing. We believe that every single time you show up for yourself, you deserve recognition. If you go from all F's to all D's, praise the Lord, because you did something that mattered. You chose to prioritize yourself. And with every win, no matter how small, no matter how big, we're going to make sure we lift them up. Kara? So as I mentioned, Project Lift started in 2016. We initially wanted to focus on youth only. I had just left my job at Indian River Juvenile Correctional Facility, which is the best job I ever had until what I'm doing right now. I liked working in the facility because in the facility, every day you make impact. Every day you have an opportunity to redirect a negative thought, a doubt, a feeling of hopelessness. But what I saw was many of the youth I worked with would come into the community and they would recidivate within 3 to 6 months. Now you can say that that is because they are immoral. They don't care. They trifling bad kids, or we can tell the truth. We did not set them up for success because our community does not provide programming that directly works with who they are to strengthen them in the goals that they have and to eliminate the disparities they are faced with. So as you start something, you must pivot. And so we pivoted. We are a trauma-informed restorative justice organization that provides grief services, prevention services. We are in the community. We don't do anything unless our clients tell us it's what we need to do. Next slide, Kara. Our philosophy is rooted in restorative justice. I'm a restorative justice practitioner. I'm also a restorative justice trainer. I'm certified to do this. Now, some people are going to tell you that's what they is, Kara. They not. But I am. And the reason we are restorative justice, from every single person who works in our organization, they're trained to be restorative justice practitioners. The person who's answering the phone is a restorative justice practitioner. Why? Because when you call in crisis, you need someone to answer that phone who can recognize that you're in distress and sit with you and help you process your experience. We believe that healing is key. Harm can never be the response to harm. So if all we can do is incarcerate, we have failed. If all we can do is discharge someone because we don't like their presentation, we have failed. And so we choose to see opportunity and to work with our youth. We have a youth who is my baby. He's out here right now. All my kids are my babies, every single one of them, okay? And we had a little disagreement because I didn't do something he wanted. He ain't never coming back to Project Lift. But he emails me every week and he says, I'll be back, I just got to get some things together. Is that not progress? Is that not investment? Is that not that young man showing up for himself in the way he can right now? And my responsibility is to always send back, I'm so proud of you for trying, keep letting me know how you're doing. He's not failed, he's going through a thing. Next slide. So I want to introduce my team. You've probably seen some of them in the community. One is sitting right here, Lakeisha Smith. Y'all call her Stony, but she know I don't. She's our community outreach specialist. We are everywhere. We provide every type of service you can imagine. We work with the barbershops. We're in the schools. We do intake in our office. We have peer mentorship. We do any and everything our clients ask us to do. And if we can't do it because we stay in our lane, we will refer them to an organization that is credible who can do the work as well. Next slide here. Our board of directors. So we're very fortunate. We have 5 board members who have been dedicated since day one. We have an eclectic board. 3 of our 5 board members are licensed social workers. 3 of our 5 board members are veterans. 2 of our 5 board members are pastors. We have a nurse. We have an accountant, because the money got to be right. Okay? So we got to do what we have to do, but I'm proud of them because they support the mission and they get out the way so I can do what I have to do. Next slide, Kara. Our youth services are a combination of really what our clients have asked us to do. So we provide traditional behavioral health services. We do assessment, we do therapy, we do case management, we do crisis intervention. We also work within the schools, and we like to work with alternative schools, our charter schools, our schools that receive less programming, the schools where our kids go to and have to look at the computer all day long. Those are the schools we like to be in because we facilitate those weekly groups, we offer wellness programming to them, and we train the staff so that the staff can carry on the work that we're doing when we're not there. We have our summer camp. We're doing this for the 2nd year in a row. Kicks off June 3rd. If you have a brochure, Lakeisha's going to pass out brochures so that you can have information about that. It's an 8-week summer camp for black males, 14 to 19 years old. They will learn basic carpentry skills, basic auto mechanic skills. They're going to learn why they need to vote. They're going to learn how to vote. They're going to learn about oral health, because people do not go to the dentist. They're going to learn about mental wellness, and then the most important thing we're going to do is promote joy, because wellness isn't worth a darn if you don't have joy. So we will spend time helping them to create joy plans. We provide Life Skills Summit every summer in June. We do a huge summit with our community partners, providing free resources, food, and access to other individuals, because we're not the only solution. Again, I said mentorship, and then we have a restorative justice program that works with the juvenile court system on the diversion side, where we're trying to prevent conviction and confinement, and then on the reentry side, where we're working with those youth who are in detention, in juvenile corrections, who are coming out, and they need support so that they don't recidivate while they're serving. Next slide here. Our adult services. So again, we provide behavioral health for just traditional behavioral health. We do fatherhood parenting classes using the Nurturing Fathers curriculum. We do co-parenting mediation plans. So you don't like your kid's mother, that's fine. But we got to work with her so that you can still be a part of your child's life. So we help them to do that. We provide restorative justice for returning adults. So we're in the facilities working with Judge Sheehan for the VIP court, the Violence Intervention Court. So we're working with young men who have gun charges but not have taken life or harmed someone seriously so that they can get stable. We are facilitating a weekly group at Oriana House, and Stoney's Closet is there as well. And then we work within the actual DRC facilities. So one of the things I'm most proud of is creating a mentorship program in our DRC facilities and training incarcerated men to facilitate that program. And every time they complete that, I go and I introduce myself, I give them certificates, because I'm thankful they're willing to be a partner in this work. Next slide. Our barbershop partnership currently has 11 barbershops and growing. So if you know anyone who's interested in partnering with us, give them our information. We don't just pop up. We train the barbers to recognize signs of mental health distress. We make sure they have resources for referral. And every week we host wellness pop-ups at the various barbershops to directly provide support for the patrons who are there. This initiative is important to us because they don't need to come to our office to get services. We should go wherever they are to meet the need. Next slide. Our suicide prevention initiative is something I'm incredibly proud of. We are one of 5 community organizations who receive funding from Governor DeWine's initiative to reduce suicide prevention, specifically for black youth and young adults. You may not know, but it's the number 3 cause of death for black males ages 14 to 24, and despite what you heard, you don't outgrow depression. So as black males age, depression worsens, which increases the risk of suicide. And while we like to focus on active suicidal behaviors, passive suicide is what we see most often in black males. I'm going to drink a lot and go get in this vehicle. I'm going to get high out of my mind and start a fight. And maybe this will end my life. So we have to be innovative and responsive to the needs of those we are serving. So in addition to providing direct services, we provide free workshops for community partners. We disseminate educational materials to help you understand the risk and protective factors for suicide. And we continue to provide community engagement opportunities. Our Empowering Our Healing event was last year in November. We gave out a curriculum to help you culturally engage with youth and young adults who are Black identifying. We gave a word lexicon to help providers know what questions to ask so that we're not missing the mark there. And then we continue to provide those resources for everybody. You probably have seen our information and our billboards in the community. Next slide. And so, you want to support our work? Of course. How could you not? What would be wrong with you? All of you are well-meaning people. So you can become a volunteer. One of the things that I am excited to announce is that we also received a grant to build behavioral health workforce, specifically recruiting Black, Latino, and members of the LGBTQIA community to become behavioral health providers, where they're going to receive 40 free CEUs to obtain state licensure or certification, a 40-hour hands-on training where they will be paid $500 upon completion, and then we're going to pay for their background checks and the application fee. What else we got to give them? I don't know. Kira like, nah, that's enough. It's enough? Okay. So if you're interested in that, all you have to do is contact us, and we will make sure that we get that resource to you. We also do fundraising. We're not good at that. We got to get better. But we know you want to buy something. Did you buy something at the open house? You better had Okay, so we're selling mugs and yard signs, and these are positive information to give to our individuals who are struggling. And on the back is our information about why their life matters. So, next slide. If you want to stay connected with us, which you do, you can visit our website at projectlivservices.org and submit a contact submission to get information, to get our newsletter, which comes out at the first of every single month. You can call us. You can come to our office. We invite you to come. Experience what it's like to be one of our clients, because once you have that experience, you'll understand why they choose us. You'll understand why we do the work we do and why it's meaningful. And follow us on social media, because you ain't got nothing else to do. On Instagram, you don't, at Project Lift Us, and on Facebook at Lift Advocacy. And if you have any questions, now is a great time for them. Hey, Ms. Glass. That means I did my job, right? Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, LaToya. Really appreciate you being here and appreciate you giving us information. We really appreciate that. Oh, you got a question?
So to become a volunteer, it depends. We are a state certified organization. We work with youth. So you have to have a background check. We pay for that for you. There's training that you're going to be required to complete. But if you're 18 and over, you can come volunteer in the program. Thank you, Ms. Glass. She always gives me a good shout out.
All right, any other questions that we missing? All right, cool. So now we're going to transition. We have Michael Herb here with us from Public Safety. If you could direct your attention to this screen, due to some technical things we had to kind of move and shake through, we're only going to be able to use this screen for the presentation, but he's really going to walk us through our open data portal and really show you how you can be able to utilize it in the best way. This is something that's open to everyone, so you can just go on and look up some different data to help you with your program. And so I'm going to turn it over to Michael, and he's going to walk us through how to utilize the system in the best way.
Thanks, everybody. Again, my name is Mike Herb. I am with Cleveland's Department of Public Safety. I am a senior strategist. I report to the safety director. And so I'm going to walk straight through data that the city is trying to make available to everyone that's out there. So we want you to be able to see all of our data, statistics, maps, everything from the Division of Police, our Division of Fire, EMS. I'm going to focus mainly on the one for the Division of Police because it's really something that we get a lot of requests for. You know, everybody wants to know where are the crimes happening, what types of crimes are happening. And so the mayor's initiative is to really be as open as we can and push all of that information out to the public. So you're gonna have to work with me. I'm gonna be balancing a microphone and the computer. So okay, let's see.
Just let me know when you want to talk.
I think you're
You got it here.
Yeah, we'll see the one-hander here. All right, so the website for public dashboards, and it's not just the Department of Public Safety. The city has launched through our Office of Urban Analytics and Innovation, public dashboards for the Department of Public Works, housing. You can see here, you can browse by all different kinds of data that the city is making available, but the website is just data.clevelandohio.gov. So easy to get to. Again, I'm focusing on public safety itself, so there's an icon here for all the different dashboards and information that we're making available. And I can scroll down and a lot of different applications. So you can look at calls for service, where calls for service are happening, what types of calls for service we're receiving. That goes for EMS, police, and fire. So you can look at a map that will show you live where are all the fire calls that we've been receiving around the city. Where's our fire department have to go, and where have they been going lately? You can zoom in on the map. You can find specifically, the area that you might be in or that you may be concerned with, and find out exactly what types of calls they've been responding to. I'm gonna go back here, maybe not. Try again. All right. Other applications that are available, again, dashboards that go with these things. So just basic statistics that might be with them. These are available for calls for service, but I'm going to go into the crime dashboard and the crime map because that's mostly what we get our biggest requests for. So the crime dashboard itself are the sometimes boring statistics, but graphs and charts, what types of calls, what's taking up the time of the Division of Police, what are we out there for? You can see here on the left-hand side, you have the ability to filter things out. So if you are concerned with one area of town over another, you can sort by your city council ward or the individual police district. And these update in real time. So it's easy to go in and change over to the second district. You can see how fast everything updates. This first one is showing offenses over time. You can go in if you're concerned about particular assaults that may be happening in the city and get updates. You can also look at individual time periods. So as we go back, what time of day, what day of week, what are the time blocks, so day, evenings, nights, that are the busiest for the division. You can compare month to month. How does this month look like last month? And you can see specifically on offense type. Of course, I selected one type of offense, so that's not going to show the diversity of cases that they work, but here are all the different offense titles. So that's the dashboard. That isn't the thing that we get requested the most. What folks really want to know is where are the crimes happening? And so what we've done is built this Division of Police crime map. And so if you go over to the Division of Police crime map, what you're going to see is a map. One second here. Is a map with a bunch of points on it, dots. These are all of the crimes. By default, we're looking at the last 30 days worth of crimes. So this could be updated. You can push this to whatever time period you want. I can look at the last week. I can look at the last 2 weeks. And the map updates live with all the different types of offenses. Again, it's built with the end user in mind. You know, you can custom build whatever it is you want to look at. So you can look at a date range, you can look at the last, like I said, 30 days. I can come in here and go back and only look at specific crimes that I care about. Here we'll pick arsons, assaults, and burglaries. The map is updating live. I can go in and select out the police district that I want to know about. Again, city council wards are in here. But the map itself is live and interactive. So I'm going to zoom in. I've selected out 3 types of crimes. I will tell you that for victim protection, while the full address is public record, we don't share it on the website. What we share are the addresses out to the nearest 100 block. So you're going to see dots in the center of streets. It's going to be within hundreds of feet of where the crime actually happened, but for victim protection and to keep some of the information, I don't want to say out there, but so that we're not specifically identifying someone's house, let's say, where something may have happened. It's out to the 100 block and it's just put in the middle of the street. So we call that street center line where it's referencing. So, but the individual crimes themselves, if I were to click on one of these points, what's going to pop up is all the information about it. So you're going to get the case number, you're going to get the time that it happened, the date, the type of offense, this was an assault, and here's the address masking that happened. So it's the 1800 block of East 55th. City zip, the ward that it occurred in. Obviously we're in the 3rd district, that's what I selected. A little bit more detail about it. Offense was an assault according to how the police and federal government define it. With a little bit more specific, it's a menacing call, the Ohio statute that it fits under, and a little bit more information about geographically where it occurred. So again, that's down to the individual point. I've selected out the different filters over here on the left. I'm going to go ahead and go back out, kind of reset the map. So I'm back, I'm looking at the whole city, I'm looking at all the different types of crimes. This is the last 30 days. Again, you're probably wondering, you're saying, all right, ward and district, I don't really care about those boundaries. That's, you know, I care about my neighborhood, I want to know what's going on. So within the tool is actually the build out that allows you to draw your own query and really draw your own graphics. So I can come in here and I can come in and draw a very specific shape. So if I care up and down a street or a particular neighborhood, and come in and custom draw whatever kind of shape that I want and close it out. And now what I'm saying is I only care about this specific area of town. I want to know what happened in this neighborhood. And what you'll see down here in the lower right-hand side is that there were only 80 offenses that occurred in this specific place. So you'll know there's still 5,476 calls on here, but the neighborhood that I looked at, the lines that I drew, the one that I'm concerned with, I can find out what happened. Now you can go through and click on each of those points to get the basic case information. That's not always the most user-friendly. And so you actually have the ability to just pull this up in a table view. You'll see down here in that lower right-hand side. I can pull up the actual table and look at, this is all 5,000 offenses that were mapped right now, but I can also look at just the 80 that I had selected out in that shape. And again, all the same information that we were looking at before, the case title, where did it happen, time, date, all of that information, all here. In this particular case, with all the different things that are out there and the data that's here, I can actually take the data set and export it. So if you're a data junkie, we'll say, and you love to look at, you know, what's going on, I want to actually see them, I want to put it in an Excel spreadsheet, I want to take my data, use it in another software, whatever that might be, you have the capability in here to export it to a CSV file. So if you're not familiar, essentially another Excel file that'll allow you to go into Microsoft Excel and manipulate the data, look at it further, take a look at the titles, what's really going on in the data itself. One thing that I like to explain out, because I get a lot of questions about the all other offenses. So I'm going to select one here. What you can see is this all other offenses. You can probably imagine there are hundreds and hundreds of different titles that police reports may have. We didn't put them all in here because the list would be too long to try to go through. So what we did was we grouped a lot of things together in this all other offenses. and then made another field that gives you a little bit more detail, and that's that criminal statute description that I was talking about before. So in this particular case, it's grouped under all other offenses, but it was a crisis intervention call that officers responded to. And you can see that under that criminal statute description. Again, there's no attempt to kind of hold back or filter the information that's coming out here. If the police responded and there was a title to their purpose to going out there, there's a dot on the map for it. So this system updates every day. I can go in and look at the police reports that happened yesterday. Again, there's no filtering that's going on. It's coming straight from the records management system. It's getting pushed to the city's open data portal, and anybody that's out there can go on and look at it. I realize that this is probably a little bit more challenging to see because it's not on a bigger screen. I'm out doing this traveling roadshow, we'll say, to try to get community groups aware of it, citizen groups, neighborhoods. We want people to use this. We get upwards of 30,000 public records requests a year, and they're often for things that we want to make available to the public, but it takes time to go through the process to filter out and protect folks and have the law department review. And so this is just available. You can go on and check any day of the week without having to submit any type of public records request to the city. There are some other kind of basic features. Again, I realize it's not optimal for the folks in the back to really try to see what it is I'm doing. I'm happy to come out and give the presentation to anyone that wants to listen to me and fall asleep while I present. It's totally fine. But I'm happy to take any questions. Yes, sir. It does not separate juvenile to adult. The offenses are in here. There's no suspect information that's listed in it. So it's raw as the police officer went out, whatever that is titled, that's how it goes in. Sir. Yes, ma'am. The next day. The system updates at 8. This one updates at 8:30 every morning. And so it goes into the records management system. Any reports, calls that came in the previous day that the police department responded to ends up here the next morning. Yep, I'm working on making a video, a recording that's going to go with this that you'll be able to go right to it, and it'll walk through the different features. In the interim, I'm out doing this. So I'm happy. I do Teams meetings with folks. If they're sitting at a computer, we can walk through it together. They can watch me do it and do it themselves at the same time. So that's a common request I get now, and I'm happy to do it. I've done them for groups as small as 2 or 3. So especially, the folks that are the decision makers in different groups, I'm happy to kind of facilitate and do it for, again, whoever wants to listen to it, whoever wants to learn how to use it. Mayor Bibb's initiative is to put the information out into everybody's hands. And so this is how we're doing it. So, yes, sir. The youth. So the youth are, they're a protected population, so to speak. And so the way that the information would be released often probably, and I'm not a lawyer, probably gets redacted in some way as it goes through our law department for review. So that's why these cases don't get called out. They're just specifically put in there on the title. So I'm not super knowledgeable about that one. Yes. This is not specifically tied into ShotSpotter, so you can't filter information based on it. But if a call was responded to that came back on ShotSpotter, it's going to come in here into whatever title got to the police department. CSV? No? Yes. Yes. Yep, specific to the department. No, not the course. So, again, it's posting the next day, but, if there was a traffic accident, let's say, or an incident that happened and it's personal to you and you're saying, I need a copy of this report for something, it's going to be an expeditious process because you're going to be able to go on, find it, and say, it's case 12345. So, yeah, that's the case number that was used for the officer that responded. Other questions? I was quick. I breezed through, I guess. Yeah.
All right, everybody give Mike a hand. We appreciate you for doing that. Please make sure that we are using this resource, right? Like, this is something that a lot of other cities have been able to utilize, and it's been great for them, especially for community partners to understand what resources need to be deployed where and how different violent crimes move throughout the city. Because, you know, if you deploy resources over here, it's going to move somewhere else, right? So please tap into this, tap into Mike, use them as a resource, because this is here for you all. We use it in our department for a lot of things that I pull for Thrive, trying to understand what's going on. Like, that's what we use, right? I'm constantly looking at the map and trying to understand where things are so that we can have a better idea of what's going on to be able to collaborate with different partners, you all and additional partners across the city of Cleveland. So please use it. It's here for you all. All right. Question? Contact information? Yes, I can. So what I can do is I can send out a mass communication to everyone in the Thrive network. It's probably be easier, and I'll put Mike's information in there for you all, so you all can reach out to him. In addition with some other follow-ups, information that y'all will be helpful to you all. Any other questions? All right. If we could just go to the partner announcement slide. You can keep going. There it is. Any announcements from you all? We'd like to open up the floor. If you all have anything that's going on that you would like to come up and talk about, speak about to the group, please come up, and we'll give you the floor to be able to talk about what you have going on. This is a great opportunity for us to learn about what's happening and learn for ways to support. Please, as you come up here, make it candid for what you need and how you need support. So therefore, if someone's in the room that can help you, we can be able to connect those dots. Michelle, you come on up. You coming up or you staying down?
I'll go further. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's just a blessing to be here. I just want to share with everyone about a countywide collaborative project we're working on for National Crime Victims' Rights Week, which is April 6th through the 12th. And I have flyers that I will distribute, but in response to what Rich said, what we're asking for you to just help spread the word. We're also still looking, if you want to participate, that is still wide open, because what we want to do with our theme is you're not alone. We want victims of crimes, families, and survivors to understand that there are many great projects, programs, and services across Cuyahoga County that they can tap into. And we want to just take that week to let people know where they can find them. So in addition to that, all of the events we're having, and we have an event every day, so I am just overjoyed with the support from the different organizations in the community. But I do want to highlight a couple of those. So on Monday, April 7th, we're going to have a press conference. As at that time, we will want to announce to everyone, this is Crime Victims' Rights Week. We are the cities, the counties proclaiming that it's something we want people to be aware of and where all the activities are. That will be a very short event at Arthur Woods Park. And then on April 10th, I think that's a Friday. No, Thursday, April 10th, we'll have a resource fair and what we're calling a kinship gathering. It's an event. We'll have a guest speaker. His name is Aswad Thomas. He is the National Director for Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice and the Vice President of the parent organization, Alliance for Safety and Justice. He will be here, and I implore you, I encourage you to come hear this young man. He is awesome, and he will be sharing with us on that day, on April the 10th, beginning at 4 p.m., and we will be at the East Cleveland Library. Also at that time, if you want to share information about your organization, we have the availability for you to come with a resource table. There is no fee for the table. We just want people to get the information about what's available across Cuyahoga County. And then we're going to wrap up what we're calling a Connecting and Healing event on Saturday, April the 12th at 3 p.m. at the Ken Ferguson Civic Center. So as you can hear, we're spread across the county, largely on the east side, but no disrespect to the west side. We've been still reaching out to people over there as well, because we're saying this is a county initiative, and we want everybody to know. We want people to be aware of all the great things that I'm hearing about at these meetings, and also as we talk and collaborate across the community. So I have a few flyers here that I will leave and pass out. It lists each day and the time and the location, but also if you want more information, you can just text Yana, you are not alone, to 800-6160. Thank you so much. Be careful.
Yeah, that step is tricky.
Hi all, good afternoon. My name is Pete Van Leer. I'm with a group called Policy Matters Ohio, and we've been working a lot on community crisis response, non-police response for people in crisis. And I'm a part of this project, not really an advisory group, but it's for care response. The AMS board is funding frontline service. They have social workers and peer responders who are going out on calls to 988. And there is a meeting on Monday, March 24th, this coming Monday at 5:30 at the Thea Bowman Center. And I should have brought flyers, and I did not, unfortunately. But it's just to get people to know about it. It's operating in 44102 and 44105, and this is the East Side 44105 meeting. So that's the main thing. The meetings are open to residents in 44105 or mental health providers who practice in that zip code. So yeah, it's an open invite to anybody. I've got an RSVP link here if you want to come up to me after. And also more broadly, and I feel like this is related to the violence piece that we're all talking about here, but it's about the response and how do you respond. And there's violence interrupters here, and groups are doing a lot of really amazing work, but I feel like the more we can do to get police out of some of those responses, to get people in there who are trained, who have lived experience, that's the goal. There's also a Tanisha's law that's been introduced in City Council, and this is just for awareness. We're hoping to get that through and passed. It would create a crisis response department in the city that would start to manage co-response, non-police response of all kinds, hopefully as broadly as possible. So just a heads up on that, especially the meeting. So thanks.
All right, anyone else want to share anything that's going on in the community? One quick housekeeping thing before we close out. Please sign in. Okay, we want to know that you were here. We want to be able to give credit that you were here, and want to be able to follow up with those who were at this meeting for communications that happen throughout Thrive. If something comes up, as I mentioned, the things that we're trying to do for summer that we'll need your participation in. If you are not signed in and signing in on those sign-in sheets, you will miss the communication. Okay, so we don't want you to miss anything, so please sign in and make sure that your email is legible, because it's hard for us to read some stuff. We can, in an email, you miss one letter or one word, it's over with. So please make sure that it's legible, because we want to keep you all involved. We hear a lot of times like, hey, I didn't see that, I missed the email, I missed this. We want everyone to make sure that they have it so that we can be able to communicate appropriately. We all good? Okay, cool. Okay, Sam, you can come on. Thank you all for being here. I'm gonna have Sam come up and give her announcement, but we appreciate you all coming. We know that your input is integral to our success, so we want to thank you every time you show up, and we appreciate you all for being here. I'll turn it to Sam.
First, I just want to give Rich and Dr. Delco a huge hand for bringing us together. And then I'll be turning over shortly to Chief Pryor Jones for our closing remarks. But I wanted to mention, many of you partners, last summer the city came together to really support our community with the loss of ESSER dollars, and we started what was called the Summer Soundtrack. Some of our key partners for that project not only were the City of Cleveland, it was Starting Point, Cleveland Public Libraries, the school district, and we had many community organizations like yourself a part of that. We are launching Summer Soundtrack of 2025, and we want to make sure that we're extending the invitation to partners. We have a draft flyer that you saw me hold up. We're hoping to go live with that next week. Track 1 is really focused on youth employment, and so YOU, Youth Opportunities Unlimited, really focuses on Track 1. Track 2 is focused on CMSD Summer Learning Experience, and Track 3 is All of Us. And so those that are in the community supporting our youngest residents, making sure that they are doing productive things throughout our summer. And so you'll probably hear from myself and other partners really thinking about how we can thoughtfully engage you if you have summer programming. We also want to be very intentional with this work. It's not just saying we're doing the work, but kind of what we heard from Michael, we also want to think about the data around this work. And so with this, we are doing data sharing agreements with our partners so we can talk about collective impact. With the effort last year, we did not have more dollars to do this work. It was more around service coordination, and we were excited. The mayor gave us a goal of having high quality summer programming experiences for 7,000 of our young scholars, and we actually were able to serve with high quality seats over 11,000, and it was just simply through coordination of our efforts. And so we are excited to be launching this effort again this summer, and we can do it even stronger with convening with partners like you. And so more information to come. We hopefully to have the final flyer by the time Rich sends out the updated notes for this meeting, but keep a lookout for Summer Soundtrack 2025 dropping soon.
Good afternoon. I am not going to hold you because I know you are ready. You have done most of what you wanted to for this meeting, but I did want to come on behalf of the mayor's office and just say thank you to Cleveland Public Library for hosting us. So Director Felton Thomas and Branch Manager Kimberly Hunter, we appreciate their hospitality. I also just wanted to share a few comments with you for those of you who were with us yesterday at the mayor's executive order signing for children and youth in our city's first cabinet. I just wanted to say thank you for attending. And for those of you who weren't, please stay tuned. This executive order is going to again deepen more coordination for services in City Hall, specifically for improving the livelihood of our children. And we know many of you work in that space, particularly with kids that don't always get the opportunity to be in the program or to be picked or selected for leadership. And we want to make sure that all children are receiving the services and supports that they need. It was really nice to see Reading Ram there with a number of young people, so thank you again for bringing them and letting them be a part of that historic occasion. I also wanted to just point out to you, I wasn't able to enjoy the presentation that Gradient gave and shared with you earlier, but if I could just underscore how important that work is. As most of you know, Cleveland Thrive was an opportunity for us to get together and to coordinate specifically around violence prevention that we did not have a few years ago. And so we have been doing the best that we can to maximize this grant opportunity. It's not just about money in the pockets of individual organizations, but it really is how you all continue to show up in community with one another and the many things that you're doing. Whether we have a meeting or not, you all are connecting with one another and doing work together that is really powerful for the community and making a change. And so we want to continue to do that and take advantage of this blueprint opportunity to make sure all of your voices are heard and the voices of the people you're serving are also heard. So when you hear about a session that's available, when you hear about a survey that needs to be complete, we want to make sure that you are engaging in that and that you're also spreading the word so residents, those people who are impacted by violence in our community and who have opinions and solutions, are able to be counted for and heard in our blueprint. So I wanted to mention that to you. The other thing, I wasn't in the room, so I don't know if our new PIO staff members who were here got a chance to introduce themselves. No. So we have new team members in the Mayor's Office of Prevention, Intervention, and Opportunity, and we are so excited to have them. And so if this is your first Cleveland Thrive meeting and you have not been introduced and you work in our office, please stand up. And so this is Joseph Postway. And so Joe has joined our team as our engagement and outreach coordinator, and he's also doing fantastic communications work for us. And so if you were at that event yesterday, that was his handiwork. And so it's another opportunity for us to build our own capacity so we can help better tell all of our collective stories. So if you haven't had a chance to talk to Joe and let him know what you do, and you got a few minutes when this is over, please make sure that you say hello. And I'm going to assume our support specialists that are newer had an opportunity before, because if you didn't, I need you to stand up. All right. So any of our new support specialists who did not get a chance to be introduced before, and so that's Ms. Lydia Hernandez. She brings to us some great services, including speaking fluent Spanish, right? We know that we have a lot of community members in our city that do not speak English as their first language, and we want to make sure we're connecting in with them as well. So if you want to connect with Ms. Lydia, please make sure that you see her. The other thing, Sam already talked about plans for the summer. I'm just taking another quick look. I know we had a couple of speakers here today, so thank you to Project Lift for the work that you do and for sharing that. Also, thank you to Mike, for sharing the open data portal. Please take advantage of the data. This is your data, and that data also helps tell the story of your work and your impact. Last but not least, I'm taking a quick look at some beautiful notes that my amazing teammate left for me here. It looks like I got most of it. Only other thing I would acknowledge, Women's History Month is going on now. So women, you are making history every day. Men and family members, encourage the women in your lives. It is also Social Work Month. So thank you. Shout out to our PIO team members who engage in social work and the other social workers in the room, folks like Ms. Glass, Project Lift team. Thank you for the work that you do. And then I just want to also say, the best is yet to come. We know that you all have been hanging in there with us. We've been meeting, but you all are doing good things for our city. We have seen violence go down, but we also know that with what's happening nationally, there's going to be greater need in our community this summer. So it's really important that we stay together, we connect, and we share information. When things are happening in community, we don't always hear it first at City Hall, but we are just an ear away, a call away from each of you to let us know what's going on and where the needs are that we may not see. So I thank you again for continuing to be in partnership. And I think, Rich, am I turning this back over to you? Okay, well, I think I'm saying everybody have a great rest of your day. Thank you.